I've been interviewing people for a while now, and this one has been in the works in my brain for over 3 years, man. Ryan Mack, I found you in the pandemic, as a lot of people did, just scrolling, and you did a cover of Justin Bieber "Holy,"
Oh,
or
cool.
your version of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I owe you a thank you, sir, because that is part of the reason that I have the radio show I do today.
Oh, wow. Well,
You're like, go on, explain.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
I'm like, that's immense pressure. If you had told me that before.
No, I mean the pressure's already over, man. You're killing it,
Yeah,
and the
yeah, yeah.
show's doing well too. So we both succeeded. But no, I was in radio for a very long time. I'm summarizing this quickly, and I left.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with how it was being run. I didn't love that it wasn't spotlighting up and coming musicians or just songs that weren't necessarily being pushed by a label or a management structure. And I had this idea, and I have a lot of cool partners that were on board with it, going like, hey, well, what if we feature a different cover every night? What if we feature musicians from around the world and their unique takes on songs? And we used your video as an example of like what this would look like and what it would sound like. And a year and some change in now, man, we feature musicians every single night, and you're part of the reason of that.
Wow. Well, thanks. I'm honored. And yeah, that was kind of just an off the cuff thing. And like, if I hadn't have done that, I guess, that's kind of one of the cool things about music and art in general. That was
Yeah.
something to me that I was just like, oh, I'm just having fun here. And then it sparked something else in your mind. And then, everything else goes the way
For
it
sure.
does. So,
And I mean, but that's your music in general. So you started with a lot of these covers, and we can go into the history of it. We
yeah, yeah,
know
yeah,
the
whatever.
boy band story. We know you've been in music for a while. We know your dad was a
Hmm.
hobbyist musician. But I want to focus more on what you're doing right now, because I think it's so cool how you've navigated TikTok to Instagram to going on tour with AJR to your own headlining tour in 5 different countries. Big things on
Hmm.
the way. I should have stayed at home. I heard this track and I hit up your manager and I was like, dude, I know we've been talking about trying to figure out an interview in the right time.
Yeah.
This is the one. This is the one that I need to talk to him about.
Good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been, like you said, you touched on, I've been in music for a long time, and it's kind of like, you've hit so many bumps in the road, as you probably know, in music in general, not just the actual music side of it, but the business as a
Yeah.
whole. There's many setbacks, many, things that kind of maybe you mightn't agree with, that are run that way, and then you just kind of have to go your own way. And as Fleetwood Mac once said, go your own way. But yeah, it's kind of like that's what I'm doing now. I'm creating music that I like. The reason I first got into music was because I liked the sound. I liked music. I liked playing the thing. The reason I wrote my first song was because I just wanted to create something. I didn't do it because there was people awaiting to listen to it.
Yeah.
And I think we get caught up in that world these days, and people try to like be like, oh, I need another song because there's like 2 million people that follow me and they want to hear it. Just make it because you want to make it, and then
Sure.
the rest will happen.
You mentioned Fleetwood Mac. Do you remember a song or the artist that you kind of, yeah, you've been around music growing up, but that first song you went, wait, someone wrote that, and it kind of clicked. Like, I could write something too. I could create something out of scratch too.
Yeah, I can't remember like a particular song, but I remember a particular writer, and that's kind of like Ryan Tedder.
Mm-hmm.
So once I
One
kind of
Republic, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I started uncovering the fact that like people wrote songs for other people, and like general public might not know that. Like, they know now, and it's this whole thing now, and people
Yeah.
make, their career off writing for other people. But at the time I couldn't fathom that. Wow, like, Leona Lewis didn't write Bleeding Love, or Beyonce didn't write Halo. It was like
Mm-hmm.
there was this guy, Ryan Tedder, who's in One Republic, who had his own successful band at the time,
Sure.
but he had these other songs that were just crazy big. I remember that just like blowing my mind, and I was like, whoa, I could, write songs for other people and create something and have them be the vessel for it. And that's, yeah, I just kind of fell in love. Then it opened up the confines of like, you have to write a song that's suitable for Ryan Mack. I was like, I can just write any song, and okay,
Yeah.
if it's not mine, then maybe a year down the line somebody, like Leona Lewis takes the song there, and then it comes to life. So that was definitely one. And then John Bellion, who's a big inspiration of mine, once I found his music, and then I seen the songs that he'd written before, I was
Yeah.
like, it's crazy how people are super successful on both sides of the coin.
Yeah, John Bellion, if you don't know, you should. But I mean, his
Yeah.
most successful, probably single song was All Time Low. But I mean, this guy is
Yeah.
not only a writer. I loved his entire album that he put out a couple years ago. I got the chance to meet and talk with him then. But he's also like the creative mind behind the new Jonas Brothers album right now, too. If
Yeah.
you're like
Yeah.
putting
Yeah.
things together, you're going, wait. And you have a lot of those. You have Julia Michaels. You have all these people that have success in their own right, but also write for other people. And then you have songwriters that are super talented that you don't know their name and you probably never will, but they're behind
No.
a ton of hits. But you're navigating both, and I love that. Where's the inspiration coming from? Because everything is wildly relatable. Obviously you're speaking from a point of a 20 something, a 30 something that like we all kind of go through it. And would you accredit that to the pandemic to kind of be in this situation where like we're all kind of unified in our beliefs?
Yeah, for sure. I think with TikTok specifically. So I to kind of summarize it briefly, I was doing like, covers gigs. I was playing other people's songs in pubs and restaurants and bars before the pandemic. And I just kind of been doing it. It was like a weekly job. Like I'd do a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I'd do a Monday, and I'd be making decent money. And then the pandemic hits and I couldn't do it. So I had this recording equipment at home, and I was like, why don't I just like put a cover up a day on TikTok? And I was doing that, and from like March until August, I got like 3,000 followers, which like is growth, but at the time I'd seen other people just like
skyrocket over like a 4-second video of a lip sync or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, what's going on? They've got like 100,000 followers. Then they've got like 10 million followers, And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And then my girlfriend said to me, you need to like, just write some songs or else you're going to have to get a job. So I ended up writing Broke, which was about having no money and not being able to kind of make money at music at the time. And it was just brutally honest and raw. And it took me like 2 hours to write, which I feel like everybody says about like one of their most turning point songs. Like, oh, it took like 2 hours to write, but it genuinely was just like fell out of me.
Well, there's a reason for that. I mean, the stuff that is the most real, the most authentic, typically is pretty quick. It does pour out of you.
For sure, yeah. Because like you said, it's authentic, it's real. It's like you don't overthink it. You're just like, this is how it is, and that's gonna be it. And yeah, then I put that up on TikTok. And I remember when I put it up, I was like, yeah, maybe people might relate to it because like I'm sure a lot of people are broke. And then it was like the first time I posted, and I used to do this thing like I'd post, I'd check for a minute, and then I'd be like, get frustrated because I'm like, what am I doing? I'm putting so much time and effort, and then I'd go for a walk and I'd come back and it'd still be the same. And this particular time I posted it, I went on, it hadn't really done well, and I was like, oh, screw that, I'm going for a walk. And I just went for a walk, and I came back, and I remember it done like 30,000 views in an hour, and I was like, whoa, what? This is kind of different, weird. Yeah. And then overnight it did like 140K views, and then I started going up followers, and within a month I hit 100,000. So I started kind of realizing then that people wanted the honest stuff, not just like this kind of made up like what I thought they wanted to hear. I just ended up writing what was actually happening to me, and that ended up changing everything.
Well, you also embraced the haters too. What was her name? Allison, or
yeah.
We love her. Allison, we appreciate the comment, but when someone's like, "We'll get a real job," then it's like, wait, that's not the point, right?
No, yeah. I can see her side of the argument too.
Sure,
like a musician, a broke musician, screaming into a microphone about having no money and complaining, and like people who are hardworking are just like put on your boots and get to work if you're going to complain that much, But yeah, that was kind of just a prime example of turning a negative comment into a positive kind of video and outcome. So yeah.
How would you describe the transition of, it is very easy to fall into a rhythm of Thursday through Monday playing a pub and you make enough money to get by and it's fine, but there's really no growth as a musician. You're covering other people's songs or you're playing the same things again and again. You're probably even seeing a lot of the same crowds sometimes. Transitioning from that to writing by yourself to now once again playing in front of an audience, but massive audiences and your own original material.
One major thing is from doing the covers gigs and the pubs and stuff, you deal with a lot of different crowds, and like I said, I was doing it like four or 5 nights a week. Like some Christmases I would literally be doing 7 nights a week with like 2 during the day, so I could be doing 9 gigs in a week. It was crazy. So you kind of learn how to deal with a crowd, and how to occupy like an awkward silence, or like how to really, if you sit there and just play the songs, you're just going to play the songs and the crowd aren't going to interact. So I used to have to like engage with them, and you get like, you become comfortable in these awkward situations. So then when I went on tour with AJR, you know, you're going out, you're an opening act, the crowd aren't necessarily there for you. Well, they're not. They're there for AJR or the
Right.
actual headline act. So you've got to go out and wrangle them and get them to like you. So I just was kind of like, everything I learned from those years just kind of came back, and it was like not being afraid to take the mic and ask them to do something, or ask them to sing something back. Because when I was gigging in the pubs, I was like, sing along if you know the words, you know, and you've got to kind of do that with songs that they don't know the words, so you've got to teach them. But it's just, it builds a confidence, and it hardens the skin in a way that like nothing else really will. And you can't teach it to somebody. You've got to get out there and just actually experience it.
It's stage presence. It's not taught, it's learned.
Yeah.
But
sure.
for what it's worth too, if you're going to open for someone, AJR and their crowd, I'm pretty tight with the guys. And I remember talking to them when you first announced the interview, or the tour. And I was like, wait, hang on. Because I've been watching this, guys, and I was talking, I think it was with Jack about it, and he was like, dude, we found this guy, like, we're super excited, he matches our energy on stage.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good crowd to kind of, hey, I have some original music, let me play for you, because they will pay attention.
Yeah. And like the thing was, when I first put up Broke, it was like, I got a lot of like comparison to AJR. People were like, oh, this is such AJR vibes, because like it was original and raw, and it was kind of unearthing the kind of things that people maybe didn't want to admit. You know, it's in this business, everyone's like, I've got money and chains and cars and stuff, and I'm sitting there going, I've no money and no cars, and I can't even pay for my car.
I wish you the worst in the most loving way
exactly.
possible. Yeah, I hope you still have your favorite shirt. I heard that line. And I just kind of paused, and I was like, because I had just gone through a breakup right when that came out too, where you're kind of conflicted with this, like, you don't want to hate a person and you don't want to take the low road, but like, man, I hope they have a bad date. I really do.
Yeah. You're a little bit petty underneath it all. You're
just
a
little
bit
bit.
petty.
Just
a
little bit.
But yeah, all those songs kind of, they went down really well with AJR, and the crowd were so receptive, and just, they were there for a good time. And I think as a support act, if you realize that you're there to entertain that crowd and warm them up for the main act, if you can like just kind of go out and make that known, be like, I'm just here to entertain you, get ready for AJR, you win them over immediately. If you just start talking about AJR, you win them over.
Well, now you're in that really fun phase, era, if you will, where you get to both be a support act for people like Bastille, no big deal.
Yeah.
And also, I know you're working on another tour coming up too. So real quick, I don't want to take too much of your time, because the time difference, I know you're like mid-afternoon. I'm just waking up. But
yeah, I'm good though. I'm good.
What is in the works? I know you just released I Should Have Stayed at Home. I know someone like you probably have songs in the chest or in the chamber ready to go. I know we're working on a tour potentially, but are you coming across the States? What's going on here?
Yeah, so I'm doing another tour in it's kind of like end of the year, October, November, and I'm looking at getting the States on that. Obviously, it's tough for me because I'm Irish, so I've got to like get the visa to kind of correspond and everything line up.
All
so
that
just
small little detail that is legally entering a country and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're currently kind of doing that, because my biggest fan base is America, which is crazy. So and Americans love Irish, so I gotta get over there quick. But yeah, I'm working on a tour. I've got songs coming out. I was actually just working on a song before I hopped on here. I'm actually going to America in 2 days' time on a holiday. So it's gonna be my first time ever in America. Which is cool.
Where are you going? New York or
ever? No, I'm going to Florida.
That's the most American.
Is that like vintage? The most vacation, like just instant.
Are you going to Disney?
Instant. Of course. I love it. It's either I'm retiring in Florida or I'm going on a holiday.
Going to Disney. Yeah, we actually just broadcast the show from Disneyland, which is in California, but we've been quite a bit, so you'll have a blast.
I'm going everywhere. I'm going to Orlando. I'm doing. Initially, I hit Orlando, and then I head on a Royal Caribbean cruise. So I'm hitting all Jamaica and the Bahamas.
Getting a proper holiday. Yeah.
Yeah. I need it, man. I need it. And then I come back, and then we do like 5-6 nights in Orlando. So we're going to do Universal and Disney World, And then then I'll be back in October, hopefully, to do my own gigs in like New York, probably California, and then I might do like somewhere middle, like Texas, maybe. I've got a big fan
Chicago,
base in Texas.
kind of a
Chicago,
big
I've got a
deal.
big
Yeah,
fan base in Chicago as well. They're
that's
like
where we
my
are right now. So yeah,
yeah. I don't know, I don't know what it is in the Chicago water, but it's like one of my biggest on Spotify, one of my biggest regions.
I'll take credit for that. We play your stuff.
Yeah,
once
it's
in a
all
while.
you, Eric. It's all you, man. Just jamming it out.
Yeah, no,
But
but
yeah,
we're syndicated. We're across. You're gonna do amazing in New York. I actually lived in New York for 5 years. You're gonna love it.
Cool.
California will be great. I can't wait for you to hit the States. Give me this bone, without giving out too many details. The song that you're working on right now, that you had just closed the Logic session right before this. Just give me
It's
like
actually
a
still
phrase. Oh, is it still open? Give me a phrase so that when it's released, I know, hey, that's the song that he was working on that right before our interview.
okay, so it's the concept is basically what was the first line? I'll get it on my phone. I'll get the first line that I wrote down.
We're in the early stages. I love this.
This is literally I've only 2 lines. And it's I'd love to say I'm over you. So it's a kind of like you want to admit that you're over somebody, but realistically you're not. So you're kind of telling them I'd love to say that I'm over you and that I'm happy that you're with someone new. But, you know, the fact is I'm absolutely hating every minute of it. So it's just like you're kind of telling them I'd love to say that I am, but I'm really, really not dealing well with it. So it's kind of
nice.
it's kind of going to be a bit of a heartbreaker. But I'm not going through a breakup. I just kind of started writing it and I was like,
You're like, I want to clarify. I'm happy. I'm good. But
Yeah.
I've been in that point. Yeah. Some of that best stuff is written from that third person or from experience of the past, you know?
Yeah, like I mean, I've gone through breakups, so it's definitely that doesn't leave you, you know.
Yeah.
So you can definitely and I mean, Harry Potter's not real, and J.K. Rowling wrote many books about it. So you gotta.
You mean wizards aren't real?
Yeah, well, you know, we might see them in Universal Studios. Who knows?
You will. You'll have the best time, man. I was actually just there not too long ago. It's fun. It's a good time.
What's the best ride I should get on?
At Universal? Oh man.
Or any of them. Disney World too. I'm going there too.
I could do both. Yeah, my buddy actually used to work for Disney, so I spent more time than I'm proud to admit at those parks. At Universal, the Gringotts ride is amazing because they opened the Diagon Alley, which is not the original Harry Potter world. That's an Islands of Adventure. The other park is the Gringotts ride. That's amazing. And then at Disney, dude, you got to do Tron. So they just opened it. It's this new roller coaster in the Magic Kingdom, and it's the one that it's a light cycle, and you ride it like a motorcycle, like you actually straddle and like put your hands on a handlebar.
Oh, really?
And it hits like 60 miles per hour. It's incredible. I think it opened like a month ago, so you're there just in time. But I got to ride it in Shanghai. So they originally opened it at Disneyland Shanghai, and they just moved it over here. So those are my recommendations for sure.
And does it do a loop-de-loop or anything?
I don't think it goes upside down. No.
I can't
but also Rock and Roller Coaster, you'll love. That's at Hollywood Studios because that's Aerosmith themed. So they blast rock music in your ears while you're like on this. That one goes upside down.
Oh, I don't know if I can deal with upside down.
It's in the dark. You won't know. You won't know.
I'm like, I used to call myself the human coat hanger because like when I went with my friends to the fun fair when I was younger, I used to be like, yeah, I'm going to get on everything. And then I get down there and I just kind of get scared. And I would just put my hands out like this and I'd be like, yeah, I'll hold your coat. And I just hold all my friends' coats as I watch them. So I'm the human coat hanger, man.
I love that.
This time I'm going to Disney. I'm going to Universal, so I got to get over it and get on a few. I'm going to get on Hagrid's ride, the motorbike one, I think.
Hagrid's ride is great, too. That one doesn't go upside down. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I'll let you know how I get on.
Yeah, please. And then when you actually make it to like New York, Chicago, LA, we'll link up for sure. We're traveling all the time, so we'll see you at one of those shows. I'll make a point of it. One last question. This one's just for me because it's one of the first things I noticed about you when I started following you, and this is, God, it's going on 3 years now. The umbrella tattoo. I saw that, and I was like, this is so dope. I've been considering something very similar on my arm. What's the quick story behind it, if you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah, of course. So it's actually originally the logo is from Bring Me the Horizons album.
Sure.
It's called That's the Spirit.
Yep.
That's not the reason I got it initially. So the
massive Bring Me the Horizon fan.
Yeah. I do like them. I do
Yeah.
like them. But I just thought I thought the logo was cool, and the emblem I wanted was an umbrella, because the first song that I had to ever hit 1 million streams, which was a huge milestone for me at the time, was a song I have called "Got You Covered," and it's like an old school. Like I released it in 2019, and it reached 1 million streams. And I was like, oh, I want to get something to commemorate it. And in the album, or the artwork for the single, it's me holding an umbrella over my girlfriend. Like it's like a drawing, but I'm holding an umbrella over a girl and covering her whilst I'm getting wet. So I was like, I want to get an umbrella to commemorate it, and I found this cool one, and I happened to like Bring Me the Horizon too, so I got it.
For what it's worth,
Everyone thinks it's Umbrella Academy, I think.
No,
Umbrella Academy, but I've never seen that either.
It's more the. I did just watch it. I was very late to the game. It's very good for what it's worth. But I was like the last friend in the group to see it. But that's funny you mentioned Bring Me the Horizon. 'Cause I'm a huge pop punk guy at my core too. So like All Time Low, Panic at the Disco, like Let's Go. I need to hear your voice on something pop punk soon. That would be incredible. Even if it's just a cover.
I'd love that. That's what I grew up on, a lot of pop punk. Like, not a lot of people kind of know that I'm literally a diehard pop punk fan. Like when I grew up, the only channel that I would really have on in like this, back when you were rocking music videos all the time, was Kerrang. Like I just used to bump Kerrang all the time. I would let Boys Like Girls, you know, all that kind of stuff. All Time Low, Mariana's Trench was a big one for me. I'm just crazy into.
Dude,
and
we're
like,
gonna get on so well. This is great. I'm actually going to see All Time Low in Nashville for their acoustic show in a couple weeks. All right, man. Well, I could talk to you for hours. I'm sure we'll get a chance soon, man. Hopefully in person. But I appreciate you taking the time, man. And Ryan Mack, I Should Have Stayed at Home, out now, and then a new song on the way that we're working on that we got a little sneak peek of.
For sure.
All right.
Many new songs.
That's amazing, dude. Thank you so much. That was great.